Okay, welcome to Bitrix24 Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Partners Interface. And with me I have our Support Manager, Andy Naylor.
Hi guys, so we're going to be here for the next hour and we are here to answer any questions that you may have about Bitrix. So whether you're using the free version through to using the on-premise version, we can answer any questions and show you on the screen. So if you do have any questions, put them in the box provided on YouTube, or you can send us a tweet to @Interface, or if you have any questions, you can also email us to live@interface.com and we can answer them as we go along here.
Okay, so there's our contact details on the screen there. We are Bitrix24 Partners, Gold Partners. We're based in the UK. We have offices in the US and Dubai. We manage all pre-sales support, so providing you with a demo and discussing the different editions that are right for your business. Full implementation service, including customization, training, ongoing support package. So a telephone support service for Bitrix. Okay, let's get into a question that was emailed over to us. I want to collect information in a form and pass for approval. So we do this sort of thing quite a bit. There's quite a few ways of doing forms. So I guess if we just look in quickly in the CRM first, you can create forms in the CRM. So depends whether you actually want a form to be a public form on a website, or whether it's a form that internal people are using, logged in people are using, whether they're your employees or your customers or suppliers that are logging in and completing a form. It's going to be a public form. Then we've got a CRM forms in module in the CRM. We have so look at this one. We've got a form here. So we can give the form a name. We can choose the fields in the form. So you can choose standard fields that exist within any of these modules here: lead deal, contact company, quote, and invoice. Or you can create custom fields in one of those modules, and you can select that custom field. So we've got first name, second name, phone, and email. You might just want to add some additional stuff like company name. We might want to add any other custom fields, maybe website as well. You can do a few other things on this form. We can do things like product list as well. So if you've got products set up, you can have a drop down where a user can select those product lists to make it a kind of simple or product ordering page. But we can populate our form. We can create our form here. We can rename some of these descriptions as well fairly easily. You can do things like put breaks in and line separators to divide up the form. And then if we go down to the bottom of the page, we've got some settings. So this is who's responsible. So when the form is completed, it's going to go and generate an item within the system. Now we need to know who's going to be responsible for that, so we can add that in there. This is where we choose what sort of record it's going to create in the system. Generally these create leads, but they can create deals for clients, contacts, companies within the system. And there's a few bits you can do a bit further down, I'll go into, where you can style up the form as well. So that's if we're using a public form. We should be able to go to, and then some code at the bottom. So it generates the code that you need to embed this form onto your web page. Let's just cancel out of that. Let's click on the link and we can see that form. I didn't save it when I added the fields, so it's not added those additional fields. But you can use this page. It'll be populated on your domain, whether that's a Bitrix domain or you've got your own domain. It'll populate on there. You can use that page, or you can embed that form in an existing web page.
You can also, as well now, using the Bitrix24 sites, you can actually embed that form on a site generated inside Bitrix.
Right, yes. So whether it's a Bitrix website, a website generated from Bitrix or your own website, on something like WordPress, or you can embed those forms. So the question is to collect information in a form and pass for approval. I think the best way, I mean, let's have a look at how you might do this. Let's set one up as if it was an internal form. So that's how you create an external form. Let's show you how, from start to finish, how you do this if you're using an internal form. So let's go to services. Here it's services and lists, and we've got quite a few different lists here. Let's create a new one then. So we're going to call this info form. We might just want to choose access. So you can create permissions based on users or user groups or work groups. So you can allow or deny access. This is the user I'm logged in as, John Smith, so I'm going to provide full access to that for this user. So I've created my, set up my list item. I can now customize the fields. So there's two elements to this. Essentially, you're going to create your fields, and then if you need to, you can create business processes. In fact, the question is, they want to pass for approval. So we need to create a process that sends an approval. So we have a default field here, name. You can add a new field here called, let's just put date in, and create quite a few different types of fields. One of those is a date field. We've got date and time, or date. In this case, we just want date. Make it a required field, mandatory field if necessary. Show in new item form. So we need to show this. So if we want to populate this field, we want the user, when they complete the form, to populate this date manually. We need to show in new item form, and then also show for editing the form as well. So the user can populate the form, and then go back in and add additional information later on. Let's add that one. Let's add another field called employee, and we will link this to a employee. I can't see it, I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Bind link to employee. Save that. Maybe we'll just also just show you that we can link this to customer, link to a customer, so we can bind to CRM item. So allow us to bind to any one of these. All we want to do is associate this with a company record in this case. Okay, so we've added some fields. Let's go back to our list, show those fields, make sure we've seen all those fields. So we can see date, customer, employee name. We don't need sections. We're not going to section these off. It's just one form. So there is our list. To complete the form now, I can add an item using the button here. So call this John. Put the date on. I haven't really demonstrated a very good use case here, but I'm just demonstrating some different types of fields, I guess, that we can use. Let's call it John. Put a date in. We're going to select who the employee is. So that's the user of the system. I can select myself here. We can then select a customer. So it's now looking for fields, for records within the CRM. And we can save that. So what we probably want to do is just add another field. So we talked about having approvals. Let's call this status, and let's have this as a list item, and it pops up with an additional tab now, and our statuses are going to be approved, rejected, project L in progress. So we've got 3 statuses. We're not going to include those statuses in the form, so actually we need to change that. We need to deselect those 2 items there and save it. So the user won't be able to, if we just open this form up again, oops, just go back and add an item here. You can see that we've got the fields that we saw before. We haven't got the status field, so the user populating the form can't set their own status. We're going to set that using an approval. Okay, let's go into our customize or configure workflows, and we want to do a sequential business process. And what we call this was something like info form, and we're going to run this process here when added. We could also trigger the process every time the form is changed, but in this case just when it's added in the first instance. Save that, opens up a blank business process. All we're going to do is add in an approval element here. So populate this with approving voters. So I'm going to put in this case we'll put ourselves in, but we can put in a group of people. Though I'm going to assign, give it a name. Approval required, and let's just copy that into there. We could put in a link here to our workflows, I guess. No, in fact, not in here. We'll create a notification as a link to the workflows page. Might want to put a little bit more information in here about some of the fields that have been populated. So let's go into. So I'll just show you. We're going to go into here to allow us to bring in some of the information from the fields that we've created for this particular form. So we had customer, insert. Let's just give that a name as well, so you can see what the field is, and we're going to populate in here employee. Do we need employee or employee brackets name? I think we need employee, don't we?
The name.
Name, yes. So we have 2 options there, employee and employee brackets name. We want to associate with something, we'd use the employee because that would give us the ID of the employee. But if we just want to display who it is, the name, then we use the one name. So we'll just put those 2 fields in for now. I've got the option to accept or refuse this, or approve or reject. You can rename those should you wish to. And we'll leave the rest of the settings as they are. What you want to do is put in a notification. So let's put in a notification here and just go into our workflows. So we're going to see the notification appear in our workflows page. So let's just copy that URL and post that into the notification. So who's going to be the sender? Pick anyone. We want to be a sender of this. Who's going to be the recipient? It's going to be myself, in this case John Smith. Please check. We might want to put a bit more information in there. But
one of the questions that we had previously on live here is that you put the URL in the box here like this, which can be a little bit ugly. But you'll notice underneath it says BB code is enabled. If you wanted to neaten it up, we just type in URL equals, and then we close the bracket, and then we say click here to check info, and then if we close the URL there. For BB code references, it's just simply Google BB code references, and you'll have a long list of code elements that you can use. So you can make things bold, you can really style things up. So this is just the one way to create a HTML link.
Yeah. So, yeah, please check and approve, and that's all we need to do in that notification. I guess what you could also do is add a notification in here as well. So when it's approved, we're going to notify everyone that needs to be notified or reject it. We don't need to do that for this in this example. So I think that's it.
No, I think there's one thing that you probably need to do is you're going to need...
Oh, so I'm going to modify the document. Yeah, okay. So absolutely. So when we approve, if we approve, we want to change the status to approved, so we can see in the form, in the list. So if I go into so I'm using a field here called, or an action block here called modify element. So we'll change the status field, and I can find the field that I want to modify, which is status. This is the one that we created, and I'm going to change it to approved. So I can check from the list item that we created, from the field we created in the list, we had 3 different options. I can now see those options available in this list here, and save it as approved. And
you're going to need anything you're going to need is probably just need another one to make sure it's in progress. Otherwise, it will not set it. I'm just going to need. So we have 3 outcomes.
Yeah. Okay. Apply. So that's our business process. Let's go back to where's our services? Let's go back. Let's go in here to services and into our list info form. Okay, so this is the list. Let's just add in that status field that we added. Put business processes in so we can see that as well. So this is one we added earlier. Has status not set. The process wasn't triggered on that because we didn't have a business process running at that time. Let us add a new item and call this 123. Populate the date. Select an employee. Doesn't matter who. Select a customer. Doesn't matter who. And we can submit that. Okay, so we've got a notification. Please check and approve. You can see the link that Andy created there.
You can also see just in the background here that we have a status of it in progress at the moment. So you can see before we didn't have triggered the business process, and now we have a status in progress.
Yeah, we've got a status, and we can also see actually that the business process is in progress. You might not need to see this field, but we can see that there. Go back into our notifications then and click on the link, and it takes us to the approval. So you can also see this workflow approval on the left hand side here as well. You can see that I have 1 outstanding and a bit of information. Oh, that's coming wrong actually, customer 7, so we wanted the name, so we might have chose the wrong field in there. So that should have brought in the name instead, it's brought the ID in of the user. Approval required. This is the customer, this is the employee. Any other information about this we could include in here, and I've got the option to pop open this window. I can feedback with additional comments, or I can accept or refuse. Let's accept it, and let's go back into our form, and it's just
that's the top one.
Oh, approved, yeah, okay. So top one, status is approved. So that's it. I think that was the question. I would collect information in a form and pass for approval. The only thing you can do now, if you wanted to, is have some additional business processes. So let's just do that quickly. So we've got any other questions? We'll just do that quickly. So configure the workflows again. Add a sequential workflow. Let's call this escalate. Let's say that we needed to escalate this we wanted to run a process that would escalate this, notify somebody more senior about this process. We're not going to have an auto run. It's not going to run automatically when it's created at all. We're going to only run this manually. Save that. So what we will probably do in here is just include something like a notification, or even change the approval to somebody different so that they can. But essentially, we could just add a notification in with a link to the workflow and just say something like, workflow, no progress in a period of time, and link the supervisor to this new workflow. Let's just take that out and apply that business process without anything in there, and go back into our services and lists, back into our form, and we'll see now that when we go to our business process, we've got this escalate. So just want to show that you can create additional, as well as the automatic process which approves it, we can create additional processes that people can run as and when required on these items. That's it. I mean, the other good thing about this table is that we can find things based on different criteria. So if I just want to search for approved, then I can do a search like that. I can also search based on typing. It's a live search.
The other thing with these lists is that if you were to go into, for example, Shuko in another tab here, then you can see, in fact, let's just go into Shuko. You can now see it creates a tab at the top here. So we have a tab called Info Form, and you can see all the entries that are associated to this particular company. So it's quite useful if you have things such as license information, contract information. You can create a list here associated to a company, and the list item appears in here.
Okay, what does the option show field when creating a list item link for fields do? Show field when creating a list item link. Let's have a look at that. So go to the fields, edit one of these fields. So show field when creating a list item link. Show field when creating a list item link.
Is that?
Yeah, I don't know. List item link.
Yeah. Not sure.
Let's just go and save that. So we'll do it on the date field. Creating a list item link. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, let's just go back, add that, a list item link. So yeah, I guess it's because if we want to create a link to this list item, can we create a link up here? Is there a link? No, I don't know. No, I don't know. Sorry, don't know the answer to that. Fortunately, the question: what's the pricing?
I think that's just in general. So if you want to find out Bitrix pricing, if you just go to Bitrix24.com, and if you just click on the pricing link at the top, there's a whole range. Bitrix goes from free through to a minimum of $1,500 for the lifetime license.
1,500
for the on-premise.
Yeah, starting out. I mean, you can get an unlimited enterprise license, I think, which is around much higher. But big range in pricing depending on what you need.
Okay. So one of the questions that also came through was just we had this quite often, just a little bit of confusion about deal pipelines. So if we just go, first of all, we're in the Bitrix24 CRM here, and you can see that we have a section called deals. If we go into the list view of deals, then you can see, if we just click into all deals to start off with, then we can see all our deals that are currently active inside Bitrix. Now what Bitrix offers is the ability to categorize your deals into pipelines. So it may be that you have a type of product as a particular pipeline, or it may be that you have a particular region as a particular pipeline. But what it allows you to do is, for example, if I click onto the pipeline in the top here and click into web design, then we can see the sales funnel specifically for this type of opportunity pipeline. And the good thing about that is it's got a few advantages of doing this. Is that number one, you can obviously see the total value of each pipeline. But more importantly, if we just switch to the Kanban view for it to become a little bit clearer, is that each pipeline can have its own series of stages. So it may be that you work on your opportunities for, in this case, website design. So we have information collection, orientation and shipped very differently to a pipeline that you are buying a house. So you can see here we've got a whole range of different stages. So that's really what they're for, really, aren't they? They're for categorizing your sales into a particular pipeline, so you know the value of each opportunities in each pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Is there a way we can trigger a workflow based on a task completing? So let's go into tasks. So we do have automation rules now in tasks. Let's have a look. So got quite a lot of.
I think this is in my plan. I think probably would be best to look at the projects.
Okay, so we have 3 different stages in here, and we can trigger a workflow based on a task completing. So yeah, I mean, you can trigger you can do some actions based on it completing. So when it's finished, we can do any of these actions. So post a message into the activity stream, main activity stream, change responsible person maybe. Probably not change the stage because we're doing it when finished. Probably wouldn't want to move the stage backwards. Change status. That we could probably not delete task, but edit some aspects of the task. So look what we do on there. We could select any of the fields, maybe some date fields or something like that, and change them. Maybe add some additional participants or observers to a task when it's completed. Track time spent, sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, you want to trigger a workflow based on a task completing. You have these options here. Send an email, send a notification would be a common thing to do when a task is complete, to notify somebody. Create another task. So use this form to create a task. Guessing you can pull some information in from the original task. You will be able to. So I could pull in, let's say, the description from this task into the new task if I want to reference that. Pull in the sort of, say, responsible person. Use some of the dates that are on this task, and maybe I'd have as my start date, I might have the end date of the previous task or something like that. So yes, you can trigger a workflow. You can trigger a workflow based on a task completing, and you can do these different items. Let's have a look at this. You can also use webhooks to post or retrieve information from other systems as well as manually updating the stage here to finished and that triggering these actions. You could use an external trigger to actually finish this task. So what we've got here, status changed, almost overdue. You can actually finish a task when the date becomes overdue if you needed to as part of your process. So if we just come out of that, open up one of these tasks, you can see the stages here. Updating it here will trigger that workflow. So it's quite new. Tasks automation rules in tasks is quite new. I think it adds quite a lot of functionality to managing tasks and projects. Very simple to set up.
Yeah, so we're halfway through this session. So do please put your questions to us on YouTube. You can just see we are interfaced with Gold Partners of Bitrix24. And if you do have any questions after this session, please do get in touch with us, whichever office is your local office to you. We're more than happy to answer any questions you may have outside, but at the moment we've got 30 minutes, so please do ask us some questions.
Yeah, I've got a question here. Can I manage multiple business in Bitrix if I buy an enterprise license? So let's just have a look at this. Bitrix24.com. So let's have a quick look at the licensing. So we have a cloud product with these plans. You pay a monthly fee for them, and some of the prices have reduced here on these, so more competitive, even more competitive now. And then there's an on-premise product. So with on-premise, you essentially buy the license outright. Do need to consider though that each year you should buy maintenance updates to keep getting updates and bug fixes and things. That is chargeable, but it's at the percentage of the original cost, a lower percentage, much lower percentage. So you've got an enterprise product here. So this is the top end product from 25,000. Let's click on buy here, and I'll show you the different options for that. It doesn't show it on the previous page, but we have an enterprise 1,000. That means 1,000 users, 5,000 unlimited. And here's the prices. So with this product, you can create multiple instances, and you can create an unlimited number of instances, provided your users don't exceed these numbers here. Let's go back into our site. We don't have a new division tool here now. Okay, so normally you would have, we've not been enabled here, a button here that allows you to create a new division. So you can essentially create an unlimited number of instances, which means that, you know, in theory each one can have its own URL, each one can have its own branding, each one can have different menu items and things. So they're separate in that respect. They don't have full separation in that if I was a user in my system here for company A, and I search up here, I can discover employees that are associated with a separate instance. So this isn't complete separation. So I could click on this and then start to chat with this person who works at maybe a different business or a different division of the company or different country or something, different office or something.
They are all managed as well, aren't they, by one control panel. So for those of you that are used to the on-premise version, it does have this section, which is very different to what you find on a cloud. So in the control panel, it's where you can see all the users in the system. So everything on an enterprise, even though you can create multiple divisions of Bitrix, so you can have, like Damien said, on different URLs, you will always have one central control panel to manage everything from.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other thing to note is that there isn't separation on the CRM. You don't get multiple CRMs essentially. So if you've got more than one business and you want them to have a sales team that's independent, don't really get that. You can do permissions in the CRM so that each team can only see their own contacts in the CRM. So team A might be for one company, and they can create their own contacts and deals and quotes and things. Then they won't be discovered by people from the other business. What you can't do is, it's going to say a lead. You can't do is say create custom fields in here and have those as have those specifically for one business. If I create a custom field, it's going to be available to all.
We have actually created a module for the on-premise version, which allows you, well, for the self-hosted version, for the enterprise version, which allows you to put fields on different sites.
Yeah, so standard you can't. We've got some separation that allows you to do that. Okay.
So we have had some questions. We had a question come in earlier in the week Just with regards to Bitrix24 sites, and now Bitrix have brought out a beta version of the online store. So you can see here, if you're on the cloud version, click into online store, which is theoretically exactly the same as sites, but different that you can sell products on it, and you can integrate payment systems, such if we went into settings, for example, click on payment systems here, we can connect things like PayPal, and if we go into new payment system, payment type, I'm not sure it's in there, but I think what you would need to do is you would actually need to connect a payment system to it. So you can integrate with PayPal, I know that on there, and you can integrate with some other third-party merchants as well. So not only can you accept payments for your products, so if we go into the actual online stores themselves, you can design them to look, if we click on visit site here, open it up in another tab, you can design them to look really professional. You can integrate your widgets on there, so your live chat, your web forms that Damien took you through at the start of the session. You can integrate everything on there, but it's this part here that Bitrix have introduced. So you can have the ability to buy. It will add the product to your cart, and you can go through the usual checkout process of buying product. Powerful tool because it does integrate with the CRM, and what we do have is we have automation rules now on orders. So what we can do is, if an order comes in, we can automatically send an email out. So if we click on configuration rules here, click on add, click on client communications, we can even send an SMS message out as soon as the order comes in, or we could send an email back, which is the most common thing to do. And then what we could also do is we have a whole range of automation rules, a little bit different to the CRM, because we can allow delivery, cancel the order. So if we moved it into cancel here, we could automatically cancel. So your order will go through a series of different stages, and you can trigger automation rules on it. It's very new, but it's a very, very powerful tool, and something I don't think any CRM is actually doing at the minute in terms of linking your customer data, building your site within the system itself, and receiving the orders. So if you're on the cloud, please do check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Can I book events in against a contact in the CRM? I'm pretty sure you can. Let's just go into a contact. Let's go to this contact. So you want to book a calendar event? Well, you can book different things against contacts. Let's go into this site and so open up our contact. Things we can do against a contact. Scheduling a call. I think you probably want a calendar event, but you can schedule in a call, and then you can view those calls in a filtered list by date. You can do other things, but you can create a meeting. So yeah, you can book a calendar event against a CRM contact. So here you can see this is our CRM contact. It's added them in. Booking our date. We can put some description in there. So associated with a one thing we've developed on this self-hosted version here is a news page. So Bitrix pioneered really the idea of a social intranet where I've got access to this here. So we've got a split screen here. I can see the HTML at the bottom, and there's an editor at the top, so I can change the styling on this text here, and it will convert that into HTML. we can also add in Bitrix components over here. Click on the top, across the top, we can add in the picture and choose which section it's going into. So, very easy pop-up tool, allows you to edit these news stories. And come out of edit, refresh.
Email inbox. In this case here, I've connected my Gmail account here, and you can see that you can now have a email inbox inside to create leads automatically. Instead, what we could do is we can manually decide which ones we want to by clicking to save to CRM, and that will therefore create a lead and store the information from that email.
I think that's really highly sought after feature. So Bitrix has allowed you to sync emails from your email provider client for a long time. So incoming and outgoing emails sync into the contacts in the CRM. But generally, you don't want to sync every single email. Some might be personal, or it might just be there's too much activity. So just have a look in the CRM and into a contact page inside the CRM. Let's close some of these down. So if I go to the contacts, open up a contact. If you're sending emails backwards and forwards, replying with short messages, it's going to record every one of those emails as an item in the activity stream. So it will get quite full up on this right-hand side with email activities. So the ability to be able to choose which emails sync into the CRM, I think is a good feature. So
you may want to discuss it with somebody. So you may want to use the chat widget. You may want to use so there we go. I think it should copy the
email here into a new task window. We don't have those available yet, but are they coming or not set up yet?
Mm-hmm. So that's a good one, isn't it? The create event is going to be able to create a calendar event and you can sync your calendars. So when you actually if you actually click on connect a new one, let's just see what we can connect. We can connect all these mail clients, so whether you use Gmail through to Office 365, and you can connect your own if you've got your own IMAP details. So it is a really good tool. Once we decide to click connect, then you can see here the features that we have. So any new email addresses, we can create a new lead. We can make those people responsible. So it is definitely a powerful tool that's relatively new inside Bitrix, so we would recommend connecting your email and testing it out.
Okay, we don't have any more questions, but if you send more questions through, we can answer those. Put our contact details up for a minute. Send any questions you've got. On that email, you can create multiple accounts. I think it's a free email client. Allows you to create many accounts as you want, really, in there.
Yeah, I think it's quite good if somebody was to, 'cause we do get a few questions every now and again that people want to have a mailbox solely for creating leads. So if you were to connect maybe hello at Interface or sales at Interface, every email that was just received there would then generate a new lead.
Yeah, no more questions coming through. So,
yeah, I don't think we have any more questions on here.
We'll leave it there. A little bit early, but we come back at the same time next week with your questions, or join us for our webinars, which you need to register for at intraface.com/webinars, and they're on Monday at similar time, an hour later than this on a Monday. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.